Hello YouTubers, it's Numistacker and I'm back with you today for a very special video with two very special coins that are going to be in the auction which is being arranged jointly by Sovereign Rarities and the Royal Mint. When is the auction, Steve?
It's on Tuesday the 25th of September.
Tuesday the 25th of September, so if you're interested in an Yoona and the Lion, put that date in your diary now and make sure you're there online pressing the button at the right time. You're going to see some pretty amazing coins in this video, but before I show you the main course, so to speak, I just want to whet your appetite with a little £50,000 hors d'oeuvre. This one it's an Edward VIII British silver coin. One of a very few in the world. This is an Edward VIII 1937 silver threepence. Now, a video of this coin on its own would be absolutely spectacular. So, I hope you enjoyed this little hors d'oeuvre. Let's get on to the main course. So I'm sitting here in Sovereign Rarities in the heart of London with Steve Hill, who a lot of you will know that name because Steve is more than a little bit famous in numismatic circles, having written or rewritten the Marsh book on the gold sovereign. So if you haven't got that in your collection now, then give Steve a ring. He'll give you a little discount on one or something. I mean, go out and buy one at full price from your local numismatic stockist. So what I'm here to do today is to take a look at two very special coins and to get one of the experts to tell you a little bit more about those coins. So let's take the first one first.
So the first coin we're looking at here today is the Victoria Gold Yoona and the Lion £5 piece dated 1839. This coin was issued by the Royal Mint. It's one of the most fantastic designs in the entire series, one of my personal favourites. It was engraved by William Wyan and it was issued as part of the proof set of 1839 coins that consists of the £5 as the key gold coin in the set, along with the sovereign and the half sovereign, and then the silver crown, half crown, shilling, sixpence, and the Maundy set, and the copper penny, half penny and farthing. Although in this auction we have just Yoona and Lion £5 on its own, which is a fantastic design. It has the young head of Queen Victoria by William Wyan, who is a member of the Royal Academy, looking to the left with the fillets in the hair, and it's a spectacular design, very lifelike. And you turn the coin over and you see the beautiful rendition of the Queen as Yoona leading the British Lion to the left-hand side. The coin also has a date in Roman numerals, which is unusual at that time. Normally the coin is in our more familiar numerals, the Arabic numerals as it's called. This is a Roman numeral coin, but the legend behind the coin as such, at that time we're seeing sort of a Victorian Gothic revival of all things sort of medieval, and the inspiration for this design was taken from the famous poet Edmund Spenser, who lived in the Tudor period, and he wrote one of the biggest epics of all in all poems, the Fairy Queen. And this is where the story is given of Yoona accompanying St George, and it's one of the longest poems ever written, in fact. And basically they are driven together, the patron saint of Great Britain, St George, with Yoona in a storm into the Wandering Wood, where they shelter in Hippocrates' cell together. And once the storm's passed, then St George leaves Yoona behind, who is then attended to by the Lion, who then leads her onwards in a quest to ultimately reunite with St George. So that's where that legend comes from, and that's why this is depicted, one of the most famous designs, with Queen Victoria as Yoona and the British Lion wandering along together to reunite with St George. So quite a patriotic coin, really.
Steve, what is it about this coin that makes it so special? You know, whenever there is a picture of a very special British coin, it's this particular coin that appears in every publicity photo, and it's become identified with the top end of the British coin market. When did that happen? How did it happen?
I think it's always been seen as a very special coin since its inception, really. They was issued, as I say, as a part of a proof set of 1839. It wasn't the coronation year, it wasn't even the year that Queen Victoria acceded to the throne, but it was a year or two later, and it was part of a set of all the coinage, and it was always seen as a very iconic key coin. It was a £5 coin after all, the first one since 1826 that had been issued. It was always very coveted by collectors. All through Victorian times they start to appear in auctions on their own or with the proof set, and then the legend continues from there onwards into the 20th century. They're seen as a key proof set to collect, along with the 1826 of George IV and the 1831 of William IV. But this clearly is a very unusual design. It's a one-off for that one issue only. It's never been issued for any of the other monarchs as such in this way. And it's just seen as a highly beautiful piece of art. William Wyman was a member of the Royal Academy. Some of his other coin work is absolutely fantastic. The Gothic Crayon of 1847, a lot of the numismatists are very familiar with. But the Queen as Yoona is a very unusual and iconic design, and it's always seen as a key one because it's just such a valuable coin. It's always been on par in value with something like the George III £5 piece of 1820, in which only 20 were struck. That's a coin on par with the value of a Yoona. Maybe it's slightly more valuable because it's such a much rarer coin. We're very fortunate that they actually issued so many Yoonas at the time to satisfy the desire of collectors to own one. It's always been said there were 400 proof sets of the 1839 issued. No doubt William Wyman also had the right at that time to issue his own coins for sale that he'd produced, so he probably sold some of the £5 pieces on their own as well. So we're probably up to a population originally of circa 500 plus pieces, I would have thought, and that's left us with a nice legacy today that's been passed down.
Thank you very much for that, Steve, and I have decided that I want one, but how much am I going to have to pay for one of these coins now?
Okay, well, the Yoona we have here for our auction on the 25th of September is going in the auction at £120,000 to £150,000. Now, we based that estimate on the fact that it's also been graded and slabbed by Numismatic Guarantee Corporation in Florida. It's been graded by NGC as a Proof 62 Cameo, and we have seen other ones selling for more than 150,000 in auctions recently in the Far East in the same grade. So we're thinking 120 to 150 will be the right level of estimation for this coin to sell.
So for those of you who are based in America, that's anything up to $250,000 of your American dollars. And if you visited London and you visited England, then you'll probably be walking around with a pocket full of pounds. And right now, a pound is it's a little kind of bicolour 12-sided thing that's pretty new, but it wasn't always that way. And the next coin that Steve's going to tell us about is a very different and much older pound. So tell us about what you've got there.
Right. Well, basically we have the Charles I silver pound here, which dates from the time of the Civil War period. It dates to 1644. It's basically the largest ever British silver coin ever issued up until modern times, when they started making bigger ones from the mint in recent years. But in the hammered period, when they used to hand make the coins with the hammer and the dies, the Charles I pound was the largest British coin ever made at that time. It weighs in at something like 120 grams roughly, just under, which is 120 grams of silver. It's a very large coin. They're sort of medallion sized really, rather than coin sized. They're a good sort of 50 millimeters across in diameter, and they basically were the largest silver coin ever made. They were issued at the Oxford Mint and the Shrewsbury Mint, because there were different provincial mints where Charles I had to leave the capital of London to escape from the Puritans who were taking over at Parliament. And in fact he moved his own royalist Parliament from London to Oxford, and he set it up in Christ Church in Oxford, and the mint was set up in that area as well, and he had his own mint working there. The Royalist Mint as such, producing these very large and impressive coins, along with the £3 gold coin as well, the triple unite. And he issued the silver pound was issued in 1642, 1643 and 1644. The example we have here, which is coming out for the auction on the 25th of September, is the very final issue of the pound at Oxford, which has a most impressive reverse with a cartouche with his motto there, the Latin motto, which basically translates as the religion of the Protestants, the laws of England, and the liberty of Parliament. That's what the Latin legend there, which in full should read Religio Prostentium Leges Angliae Libertas Parliamenti. And then there's the outer legend around the outside in Latin as well, which translates as "Let God arise and let his enemies be scattered," which is a psalm from the Bible. We know it's minted at Oxford because it has Oxford plumes on both sides, and also the date appears on the reverse with OX underneath for Oxford. And that parliamentarian, his motto there appears on the cartouche on the reverse, which is why it's one of the most popular designs of the pound series and the very final one issued at Oxford. So it's quite an impressive coin. What a pound would have bought you at that time is a good question, perhaps. It would have been a very high value coin, probably only given to very senior people in the army. And the triple unite, the £3 gold coin, is along similar lines as well. It would have been very hard to get any change for a coin like this. I always say the gold triple unite, the £3 piece, was probably like having a £1,000 note in your pocket. This would probably been a third of that, so probably somewhere in the region of £300 to £350 in today's money, I would have thought. And it's very hard to change a banknote of that kind of, if you had a banknote of that kind of calibre, it's very hard to change it today. So to have a coin of £1 face value in those days of this calibre and this size in silver, it would not only wear out your pocket with the size of it, it would be very hard to change up, I think, really. So they're very impressive coins.
Steve, thank you very, very much for telling us about the history of this coin. I know if I had one of these pounds in my pocket, it would certainly go straight through and end up in the gutter somewhere. So considering how rare and valuable it is, that's probably a bit of a waste of such a beautiful coin. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, please subscribe, please give us your comments, and let me know what you think of these coins. If you had to have one of these only in your collection, which one would it be? The 1644 pound or the Yoona and the Lion?